Oh, greetings! I'm Shad, coming at you from Atitlan Organics here in Sununa Lake, Atitlan, Guatemala. I'm actually just getting myself some breakfast to start the day off right, you know what I'm saying? And I actually had to come into my food forest to make that happen. Food forest, you said? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the food forest. It's a crazy idea, really. I'm going to talk about how you can make your own food forest in your backyard today. Before we get into that, I want you guys all to do something with me. Let's take a moment. I want you guys to close your eyes. Close your eyes and imagine a pristine forest, a beautiful, untouched forest. Maybe there's some rivers running and all kinds of stuff going on in there. And imagine you're walking around in it. Let me ask you one question. Do you see any fruit in your forest? If you're like me, you probably didn't see much fruit or much food happening there in the forest. So even though it's beautiful and it's also really helping the ecology and helping the whole planet, it doesn't really feed us. And so when someone a long time ago told me you could make a forest that's full of food, I was like, what? And so now I decided that I want to show everyone else how to do the same thing. So what we're going to do today is we're going to see a food forest like this one, but at different stages. We're going to go down now and see what it looks like in the first year and follow it along till it looks like this and yields like that after 4 years. Okay, so here we are in a freshly planted food forest. This hasn't been in the ground for longer than 2 weeks, and so it's a great opportunity to see what the forest looks like right after being planted. Here in front of me we have the central focal point, which is the avocado. Usually food forests are centered around one medium or large size fruiting tree. In temperate climates it might be an apple or a nut tree. Here we use avocados and lime trees. Around the avocado on the terrace we have a great diversity of different plants that not only help the avocado to grow, but also give us a bunch of different yields in the meantime. The way these plants help the avocados grow is by producing mulch or organic matter for the soil, by providing habitat for animals and beneficial insects, and also by covering the ground, holding humidity, and preventing weeds from growing. Altogether, this system works, and now we'll go see what it looks like after 1 year of growing. Okay, so here we are now in a food forest that's been planted a bit over a year ago. This food forest includes avocados and limes, as well as some of the plants we saw down there and some other new plants as well. This here is the avocado, and as you can see it's slightly taller than the other ones we saw down there, but it still looks quite the same size a year later. There's a saying about perennial plants in general, plants that live for many years. They say that the first year they sleep, then they creep, and then they leap. So this is in the creeping phase and still hasn't really leapt up yet. Therefore, you start to see how much space around it we can use for other fruits and vegetables. Here behind me we have a tree tomato that is also 1 year old. And look at how fast that grows. This is about to start flowering and making fruits, and in about 6 months we will have tree tomato harvest long before the avocado. Here we have some herbs in front. This is a type of stevia, a sweetener. We have tree spinach on the side. We have grasses for the animal feed. And so all together, this is creating a little cathedral or a little support microclimate for the avocado so that by its 3rd and 4th year, it can take over the space. In the foreground here in front of me, we have a lime tree that has a similar setup. Here's the avocado, there's the lime tree. They're both focal trees, but all in between we have all these other plants. And every year from now on we will be taking harvests from these types of food forests. Here we are in a 2-year-old food forest system. This avocado has finally begun to leap up and fill out the space. But there's still tree tomatoes and sweet cucumbers growing all around here, producing other types of food long before the avocado fruits. This system has taken some maintenance to get to this point. The maintenance and labor is always the heaviest in the first 2 years. Immediately after planting, we recommend heavy mulch, but you still need to do weeding probably 2 to 3 times per growing season. While weeding, you can leave the weeds there and then add more mulch or even add new plants to fill the spaces where there was nothing growing. Altogether, you will replant every year and weed every year for the first few years until the system gets established. As you can see, we're almost there, but this still might need a little maintenance and possibly fill in a little of the space with some small ground cover plants or other types of plants. But soon we will be arriving at the ready forest where the avocado begins to flower and all of the other plants are now in the shade of the central tree. Here we are now in the fully established food forest. This has been growing for almost 4 years, and as you can see, the avocados are now starting to fill out their intended space. Right behind me just flew a hummingbird. I don't know if you saw that, but this is also now bringing its own population of birds and insects and other beneficial wildlife. And so this is actually functioning like a real forest. Remember at the beginning of the video, we closed our eyes and we imagined a pristine forest and then realized that usually not much food grows in a forest. But if you look around you here, there's food everywhere. There's tree tomatoes and passion fruits and all kinds of stuff. But there's also the functionality of a real natural forest. This forest cleans air, it filters water, it holds carbon, and it cycles nutrients rapidly. And so by us creating a forest that meets our needs, we're also providing a benefit to the ecosystem and to the planet. This forest will now not need much maintenance. It's pretty well established. It will weed itself through the shade and the organic matter that falls from the trees. It will plant itself from the fruits that fall or that get eaten by birds or squished by humans and then thrown on the ground. Now there's new tree tomatoes. So this is now its own system that propagates itself, that feeds itself and also feeds us. Speaking of which, I think I need to go eat my breakfast. Thanks a lot. If you want to learn how to homestead, grow tons of delicious fruit, take care of animals, and become truly self-sufficient, subscribe to our YouTube channel today.